Hi, it's time for another Too Many Cards video with Emily Leapart and me. And this time we are using some dies from Spellbinders. We are using the large die kit of the month for March, the basket full of bunnies, and it's so cute. I just love that detail on the basket weaving part. I'm just showing you here what I'm going to use to cut some pieces. I use the Decofoil Transfer Duo Gel. It's new and I had already done it before the video. I just spread it on some white cardstock and let it dry. And then I put a strip of black and white dot washi. I'm going to use some foil, and those are the colors I'm going to use. So I'm just starting by die cutting my pieces from white cardstock. However, see how I'm specifically setting up the basket weave? That was a mistake. It doesn't actually die cut anything. It just adds the details. So ignore that. Yeah. So the tabs you want to cut 3 times, which is why I have 3 of the tabs. And then the basket weave you add after. And you get all the detail, all the little holes. It's perfect. I didn't actually use white cardstock. My bad. I said white cardstock, but I am actually using an eggshell colored cardstock for the basket and the tabs. And once I die cut everything, I'll start adding some color and shading to it. I'm using the leaves to die cut some from the polka dot washi tape that I had showed you earlier. I just like the little contrast of the black and white with all the other colors I'm going to add. And so cute. So next I cut a little piece of the Transfer Duo Gel that I had already let dry on white cardstock. I just cut a little piece, and then I'm going to cut some foil and put it over, face up, color side up, on the Duo Gel. Now the Duo Gel is fun because you do not need heat. All you need is pressure. So I am going to be using foil on some of my die cuts, but I didn't need to get a laminator out, and that was amazing. So first I just made sure that the pieces I cut fit the dies I'm going to use. Then I ran it through my die cutter, and see, that's already foiled. It's done. It's not going anywhere. And now I'm going to die cut some leaves from there, and easiest foil ever. Look, prism, gold, leaves. Yes, please. I'm also going to do some green, and the green and the gold, they're just a fun little pop of color. So shiny. Next, I'm just die cutting some more leaves from actual white cardstock this time, for reals. And I'm putting that in a pile, and I'll get to those in a minute. But what I'm doing now is using the basket die as a guide so that I can back the actual baskets. That way a little green shows through, and you won't see like the insides of the basket. This works okay. I'd give it a B. I'd give myself a solid B minus on how this actually looked. But I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean at the end. But it was a good idea. Good try, Sam. Good try. Next is Distress Inks. Of course I have to use Distress Inks. I'm using Vintage Photo for the actual basket, and just a little darker on the edges. Not a ton of Distress ink blending like I usually do, you know, not a lot of layers, just a little bit of color, because I really wanted the focus to be the leaves and the flowers. I also added color with Vintage Photo to the tabs, and since this is a 3D basket, I wanted the sides of the basket and the bottom to be the same color as the rest of the basket. And then I'm also going to add some color to those tiny little flowers. Picked raspberry and spiced marmalade, and also abandoned coral. I'm just adding a little bit of color to the edges just to, give a little bit of extra excitement to the flowers. Plus, I really think that the little bit of color looks good and pops a little, especially with those leaves I'm gonna add color to. I didn't even, can you tell? I didn't even use an ink blender. I just used the foam pad and my finger since they were such small areas. Totally professional. That's me. I'm totally professional. I'm also going to add color to the leaves of the white cardstock leaves that I cut earlier. Can I say leaves a few more times? Whew, okay. Still only using my finger and the foam pad. And I'm just using some twisted citron right now in random parts of the leaves. I'm using Peacock Feathers as well, but not on all of them, just on some of them, just like the twisted citron. And I'll do the same thing with cracked pistachio and squeezed lemonade. I really like the idea of the different colors, bright, fun spring colors of the leaves. And instead of making one leaf all peacock feathers, one leaf all cracked pistachio, I like the little bit of mix on all of them. I think that adds a little fun detail. And the squeezed lemonade was fun to add. It's very subtle. Squeezed lemonade in the oxide ink is much more bright, but in the regular distress ink, it's a little bit more subtle. I really liked it here. And you want to be very gentle when you're adding color after you die cut these because they are pretty intricate, pretty delicate. I mean, okay, here we are back to the baskets, and I use the guides, I guess. I don't know what you call them, the green parts, you know, to add the color behind the basket. See, look at that. Looks good. It's okay. Next, to cut the tabs, you want to fold along all the score lines, and then cut the other 2 tabs in half. And then 2 tabs will be on the side, and 1 full tab will be on the bottom. And I'm just going through all of them and folding all the score lines first with my fingers and then running it through with my, I forget what that's called, to make sure they're extra foldy. And I'm using some really quick dry liquid glue, although you might want to use like red tape or something, but I'm pretty comfortable with liquid glue. So I'm just using some liquid glue on the small little tab areas to create the dimension for my basket. And I did it on one side, and then I did, when I attached the basket, I attached 1 tab at a time, one side, and then the bottom, and then the other sides. And like I said, this glue dries really quickly, so I didn't have a problem about it, with it moving around or anything. The only issue that I don't even realize at this point, people, when I'm making it, is you can see the green inside. You can see the green. I didn't distress ink on the underside, and so I was like, ugh. So I'm just adding a little bit of distress ink on the insides of the baskets to match the outsides. I don't know what I was thinking. You know, lesson learned. B-, like I said, B-. Next up, I'm just going to add my bouquet to the basket. I'm using, I think I ended up using like 2 of the green foiled leaves, a couple of the polka dots, a gold, and then various of the, you know, teals and greens that I used. Just a little bit of glue on the bottom, stick it in, hold it with my finger for I don't even know, 10 seconds, and then move along. And I really, really like, you can make this so unique. You can make specific colors for specific people. It's just so bright and happy. I mean, I imagine putting a gift card inside to give it to someone. This is such a cute die. And here I made it very springy and Eastery, but you could make it fall-ish, combine it with some other dies. You could make it birthday with, let's say, you know someone who likes a certain kind of flower. You can use those flowers in all a certain color. It's really so versatile and so cute. The more I played with this, the more I really liked the combination of the colors I used and the polka dots. And even though I know there's no polka dot, black and white polka dot leaves, I really like it in this. And look how fun that is before I even added the flowers. But I really liked the flowers too because they add a pop of color. So gotta add a little flowers in. And I just glued those right to the leaves. It's really not going anywhere, promise. And it's so fun. I really like it. And then I was like, how many flowers to add? How many leaves to add? When do I stop? I could have gone forever. You could totally leave this blank, but I decided to add a sentiment with a strip of black cardstock. And I used one from Lawn Fawn's Easter Party stamp set. First of all, those critters are obviously adorable, but I just used the simple Happy Easter phrase, and I'm going to heat emboss it in white onto that black cardstock, and then I will trim it out so it's a little banner. I'm also going to heat emboss the sentiment for my card, because I'm also making a card with this die set. So I'm using the Have a Happy Easter stamp set, I think. Hope you have a happy Easter. And I'm just doing it all at the same time so that it's ready to go when I start my card. So here it is trimmed out, and I'm just using my scissors to make a little banner. And then I'm going to glue it to one of the basket handles. And then my basket is complete, and I'm ready to move on to the card. How cute. A little glitter, a little shine. I love it. Okay, to start making the card, I used the rest of that cardstock with the dried duo gel on it. And this time, instead of foil, I'm going to use some white flock. And you just press it face down onto the duo gel, run it through your die cutter machine, and you have flock that's not going anywhere. And I thought, wouldn't it be adorable if I die cut some fluffy bunnies with the flock? I love it. So that's what I did. And my bunnies are fluffy. Oh, see that pokey tool? You're going to see that a lot in the rest of this video. It's not actually a pokey tool. It is my chopstick. It's like a kebab. It's a kebab stick, like if you're going to make kebabs. And that's what I use to poke out my dies, because I'm fancy. But anyway, so do you see how fuzzy those bunnies were? It's perfect. So I'm adding the ears that I die cut from some of that pink cardstock. I'm going to add the bunnies to a very light gray card front so that it's just a little bit subtle. And I had die cut their eyes and their little cute button nose. And I'm just going to glue those little pieces in. Again, kebab stick for the win. Super fancy, people. Super fancy. It's me. And then I also added their little fluffy tails. I just used a little bit of Ice Spruce Distress Oxide ink to dye to color up those die cuts, and popped them up with some foam tape. And then, of course, as I already mentioned, the little ears for the bunnies. Sorry about those sun dots. As I was making this video, obviously the sun was moving. I didn't realize it, and there we go. I'm learning. I'm learning, people. Okay, so there's the banner I made earlier. I'm just popping it up on some foam tape along that strip of black and white washi. And now I am going to use the rest of my little leaves and flowers to make a bouquet of this little bunny for his bunny parent. It's so cute. I love the pops of color with the white bunnies. Their arms in the die are already cut so that they can pop up and hold things. So I thought, wouldn't it be adorable if he was holding a bouquet of flowers? And so that's what I made, and it's really sweet. I really like the bright flowers with the cool greens, and those bunnies just look so happy. The only thing I did forget was to add pink cheeks to these bunnies. The whole time was telling myself, don't forget to add pink cheeks to these bunnies. Just a little dab with the distress ink. And I totally forgot. But that's okay. I love the fuzzy bunnies with the big bouquet and the basket with their beautiful leaves. So fun. I love how this turned out. And those are my final projects. Be sure to comment on my video and Emily's video for a chance to win a $25 gift certificate to Spellbinders. And thanks so much for watching. Bye!